Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all so much for joining us for this incredibly important announcement that we are here to make about public safety across all of Louisville. Public safety is my top priority as mayor. Public safety is my entire administration's top priority because everyone deserves to be safe and feel safe in their neighborhood and every corner of our community. And we're making great progress in this regard. There is such positive momentum when it comes to improving public safety. We're moving in the right direction. Last year, violent crime was down across the board. And this year, that trend continues. In fact, year to date, homicides and shootings are both down about 30% over last year. That is really good news. However, these numbers are also still way too high. So today, I'm announcing that we're accelerating that process, moving faster with even more resources than ever by implementing our new community safety plan, Safe Louisville. Safe Louisville takes a new coordinated, multifaceted approach that has all city departments, federal partners, state agencies, and community organizations, including some of those gathered with us here today, to work together to prevent violent crime from happening in the first place and to protect public safety. This plan will be implemented with a clear goal to reduce violent crime by at least 15% every year. It will bring about fundamental, lasting changes to continue reducing gun violence in our city. And we are not doing this work in silos. We have all city departments, so many community organizations who are on board to increase educational and job opportunities, provide more affordable housing, reduce blight, and invest in traditionally underserved communities. I want to thank all of our amazing partners who are here with us today, and the others who are doing hard work every day all around our city. From faith leaders to community organizations to families of violent crime victims, I appreciate everyone who's here with us and doing this important work because it's the most important thing that we can do for this city, which we all love so much. Under this plan, we will create a new Community Safety Commission to receive regular reports on our progress and to provide important input as we move forward. In addition, the Office of Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods will now be known as the Office of Violent Prevention, and its work will evolve to support this new plan, Safe Louisville. The Safe Louisville plan has three key pillars: prevention, intervention, and enforcement. Safe Louisville highlights the partnerships we've developed with federal and state prosecutors to indict people who commit gun crimes and how we're transforming the culture of LMPD and providing the tools that they need to be the most trained, trusted, and transparent police department in America. Additionally, under this plan, we'll be coordinating with LMPD's new crime reduction strategic plan that Chief Humphrey unveiled earlier this year. This is a strategy that's based on hard data and proven results to further reduce violent crime. The Safe Louisville plan will be administered and coordinated by our Executive Director for Community Safety, Misty Wright. Misty is now going to join us to share some more details about the plan and the new Community Safety Commission. Misty?
Thank you so much, Mayor. And hi, everyone. I'm thrilled to speak with you today about Safe Louisville, the mayor's comprehensive violence reduction plan. And as he just described, that plan has three pillars. First, prevention. Second, intervention. And third, enforcement. And I want to take the next 10 minutes or so to give you a bit more information about each of these pillars. Starting with prevention. Prevention is about combating the root causes of violence, creating conditions for peace. We cannot focus exclusively on treating the symptoms. We also have to treat the underlying conditions. the root causes of violence, and studies tell us what those are. There are certain factors that correspond not only with incidents, but also are predictive of violence. Things like education level, poverty level, unemployment rate, neighborhood blight, public infrastructure, proliferation of guns. So our plan focuses on all of that. Starting with public infrastructure, we will enhance community spaces and get rid of blight in our underserved communities. So things like public amenities, parks. Think about the new Alberta O. Jones Park, the waterfront playport. We've got a new pool coming to Algonquin. All of these are these kinds of improvements in public infrastructure. We will eradicate blight and focus on prioritizing those areas that suffer from the most crime. So we'll make sure those streetlights are on, that vacant houses are boarded up, that trash is cleaned up timely. And we will not hesitate to shut down businesses that facilitate or promote crime. Next, youth education and activities. We will advocate for free, quality, early childhood education for every child, including those in our underserved communities. That's the Mayor's Thrive by 5 initiative. We'll expand access to libraries for kids. In February, the Parkland Library was renovated and reopened for everyone's use. That's a great example of that. We'll partner with community organizations and business leaders to create learning opportunities for our underserved youth. Next, we'll focus on economic stability, and this is about increasing access to affordable housing, reimagining public and low-income housing properties, like the Community Care Campus, a $58 million investment in Smoketown that's currently under construction. This is also about attracting good-paying jobs to Louisville, and specifically to our underemployed areas. So just this year, the new Goodwill Opportunity Center and the Norton Hospital opened in the West End, and additional businesses are going to locate there soon. Next, we will facilitate community resource connections, and this is crucial. As the mayor mentioned, there are so many community organizations who are doing tireless work every day to reduce violent crime in our city. We need to support those efforts, and we need to enhance them. And what we will do is develop and maintain a map of these organizations. We'll increase collaboration among them to maximize their efforts and avoid redundancies, and we'll invest in their efforts. Mayor Greenberg has invested in over 130 community organizations doing crime reduction work in our city. Next, we will build community trust in police. And a key part of this is police reform. So no matter what happens in court, we will move forward with police reform, complete with having an independent monitor to watch that progress. And finally, we'll advocate for common sense gun legislation to keep illegal guns off of our streets and out of our kids' hands. All right. That was prevention. Remember, we've got prevention, intervention, and enforcement. Prevention was the longest one, as it should be. And now we're going to move on to intervention. Intervention is about stopping potential shooters before they act and stopping the cycle of incarceration and violence. So we will use violence intervention initiatives. And this is particularly important when it comes to group or gang violence, because these strategies are tailored to interact with group dynamics. Some involve law enforcement, some don't, but all of them involve reaching out to at-risk people who are at risk of becoming victims or perpetrators, and giving them the opportunity to change, a method to do so, and an incentive to do so. We will provide conflict resolution alternatives that happen outside the courtroom, like restorative justice, where a victim and a juvenile offender, if they agree, can come to a resolution outside of court. Another item in this category is deflection. When 911 calls come in, when those calls are better suited for a mental health professional than a police officer, they'll be diverted. And in January and February of this year alone, over 600 calls were deflected. And finally, we will address the consequences of violence by providing trauma and reentry services. And trauma services have to be provided not only to the direct victims, but also their families and the communities that deal with the aftermath of violence and the destabilization effects that it has. We'll provide complete and comprehensive reentry services for those folks who have served their time and are ready to reenter our society and be law-abiding members. All right, that was intervention. Now we've got one more pillar left, and that's enforcement. And I want to reinforce what the mayor said. The mayor's plan is not intended to conflict in any way with LMPD's crime plan that they already came out with. It supplements and incorporates that plan. So with that in mind, let's talk about enforcement. This is about protecting the public and holding offenders accountable. We will give law enforcement the support that they need to protect us. And that means we're raising officer pay in order to recruit and retain talented, professional law enforcement officers. We're also taking care of our first responders with the new Summit Wellness Center, which has already become a national model. We'll promote public order. Our Safe and Healthy Streets initiative provides resources to people who are unhoused for their health and safety. And it also has us take action to preserve the public's safe access to public spaces. We will leverage our state and federal partnerships. And this is really about collaborating to prioritize getting the right people, the drivers of violence, apprehended, prosecuted, put behind bars. And some of the ways we're doing it right now are the Violent Crime Reduction Team. The Kentucky Attorney General has contributed prosecutors that are helping up our numbers in gun prosecutions. In addition, we have the Prohibited Firearms Possessor Initiative, where federal, state, and local authorities are working to prioritize the types of cases I'm talking about, getting those violence drivers off of our streets. And there will be many more opportunities in store for this kind of collaboration. Finally, we will promote justice system transparency and process improvements. Judges must have full information about an offender and the offense before making decisions about whether to release that person into the community. We will support efforts to collect data so that the public can understand judges' decisions. And we will work to reopen our juvenile detention facilities right here in Jefferson County that have been closed for far too long. Safe Louisville is a 5-year commitment with a goal of reducing violent crime by 15% each year. This is aggressive, but we can do it. And in my capacity as Executive Director of Community Safety, I will coordinate plan implementation in close consultation with our new Office of Violence Prevention, formerly OCEAN, with LMPD, and with our other partners, both in and out of government. We will collect data and provide regular updates, including those updates on all of the successes that don't necessarily make it onto primetime TV. We want you to not only be safe, but feel safe as well. I want to talk to you about one other thing the mayor mentioned, the Community Safety Commission. We will establish this commission to receive information about plan implementation progress, to ensure transparency and accountability, and to provide valuable feedback. Membership will include community members from all over our city, representatives from the justice system, and also representatives from community organizations. And the mayor will be updating you on the composition of that commission soon. I wish I could tell you everything about the plan right now, but I can't. I don't have time. So you can learn it for yourself. This plan is being published online right now at louisvilleky.gov/SafeLouisville. Give it a read. I can't wait to give you updates along the way as we implement this plan, and to all of our partners in government, in the community, in law enforcement, thank you. Thank you for your support, your energy, your commitment to work together for a safer, stronger, and healthier Louisville. Mayor?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Misty. Misty just joined us right after the first of the year and has hit the ground running with her effort to get this plan into place and to make sure she is developing relationships with folks that are implementing all of these aspects of the Safe Louisville plan. As she mentioned, as I mentioned, Safe Louisville is specifically designed to work closely with the work that LMPD is already doing and their strategic plan. So Chief Humphrey is here with us to share how that plan is going and how what they are doing fits in with these initiatives that we're talking about here today. Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. You often hear us talk about mission, and the mission is not to stand up here, us old folks, and have press conferences. The mission isn't to put a plan together that we can talk to you about. Those two right there are our mission. Our mission is about keeping people safe so they can thrive, so that kids like this can grow up and be the best versions of themselves that they can. Important in that mission is how we pull it off. We have to have a cogent plan for everyone to understand how they fit into executing that mission. This gives us a plan on paper that supplements the plan that Louisville Metro Police has put out. We are part of this. It is great for officers to understand that the entire government body is dedicated to making sure that we are supporting the community in being safe, that this is not a police mission alone. Police cannot be the only ones that are out here keeping people safe and helping people thrive. This is about embracing the holistic person. This is about embracing community. This is about embracing partnership. This plan is an opportunity for us to explain to you, the community, how we can serve you and give you opportunities to give us feedback on how to do that better, and then explain to you what we're accomplishing along the way so that you can hold us accountable to the mission that we've set forth of keeping you safe and making Louisville a better place to live, work, and play. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chief. As the Chief just described, we all know that we sometimes talk about the numbers and the statistics and our goals to continue to reduce violent crime by 15% more each year, that we're down 30% in homicides and shootings this year. But all that data, all those numbers, the reason we care about that so much is behind all of that are people who are impacted by violent crime. And as someone who has personally experienced an attack of violent crime, I strongly empathize with every victim, with every family who has a victim in it, who has had that horrible experience of being a victim of violent crime. One person who knows this very well is Christopher 2X. Christopher, Rose, other folks here today have all shared similar experiences. And Christopher works with crime victims and young people like his two friends here with us here today, and has channeled that energy, that passion, that commitment to reduce violent crime into creating game changers and future healers, programs that work to prevent violence in our community. Future Healers focuses on ensuring that our kids have a path out of violence and into success. Young people, like those with him today, who have been directly impacted by gun violence in our city at their young age. But now, thanks to his organization and his leadership, are on this amazing, exciting path, a path towards healing and incredible personal and academic growth. Christopher 2X is here with us today to talk about his work and how this plan works with his efforts to positively impact young people and have all of our young people in Louisville on that positive path to success. Christopher?
Oh, can you stand right here? Just like that. It's okay. Hang your head up, Sean. It's okay. Mayor, thanks a bunch. Misty, Chief, all community leaders and partners, Bishop, everybody, Kenneth, Kim, everybody. Thank you all so much for y'all's great contributions. And in behalf of the Future Healers Partnership, which is made up of U of L Department of Surgery surgeons, the School of Medicine, at U of L, and equally the J. David Richardson Trauma Center. Thank you all for inviting us in to be a part of a plan that focuses on a whole of community, but equally at the same time puts an emphasis on how we get to the symptoms early on and not see this problem down the trough, if you will, later on. And so with that said, the mayor invited us to bring a couple of the future healers. I'd like to introduce them. To you all's right, my left, is Skylar. To you all's right, my left, is Shane. They both go to Foster Traditional Elementary School, or Foster Traditional Academy, the elementary school in JCPS. Equally at the same time, they are great students, great grades, but they suffer like many children, unfortunately, in this community have over time due to the unspeakable gun violence that has put them in a category as survivors of secondary trauma, the way we want to coin that. Several years ago, they almost got hit by AK-47 rounds by just reckless stray bullets going into a dwelling where they lived at. Their mom was a hero to pull them out of harm's way and had nothing to do with the issues on the outside. But they survived it. They suffered from the trauma. But the mayor talked about community and how community came in their lives for them to see a better day now. So for 4 years now, with the early kind of somewhat not total hesitancy, but equally kind of a cautious approach on how could a community get involved and help young kids like this and others as it relates to the whole ordeal of gun violence. There was a big step taken in the fall of 2020 by University of Louisville medical students and surgeons when asked to get a little bit closer to these kids instead of a doctor-patient relationship, and let's look at maybe a way that these kids could come into their world, be curious enough to say, you know what do they do to treat these issues? What do they do to treat sicknesses when they hear about it within their family circles and friendship circles? And I must say, when this program was launched in July of 21, after some hard work was put together to launch it, it started with 25 participants. And as of April of 2025 now, with expansions, Future Healers Kiddos Medical Program has grown to 800 kids now. And that's pretty remarkable. What am I saying really quickly is that the mayor's right. When the community doesn't hesitate and say, I want to be a part of some kind of way to work into this plan, they can do it and not be afraid to do it. We've got so many talented individuals that these kids are just waiting to say, bring me into your world. And I must share this with you all really quickly before I wrap up. The medical students and the doctors first in the fall of that year said, Chris, we've got a question and maybe you can answer. And I said, what is it? They said, they're going to think our world is boring. That's what we're concerned about. I said, I think the opposite. They're going to think you all's world is so curious and fascinating. And you all are allowing them to come a little closer to you all's world. Great things are going to happen. I end up winning out on that end thus far. With that said, though, that's the beauty of the community part of this plan. That people in this community can look at the violence and say, oh my God, it breaks my heart. What can I do? You can get involved. You can be a part of making a change. And when you look at medical students and doctors and surgeons sacrificing their time where they thought they'd never be in this space, folks, it has enriched their lives beyond their wildest dreams. And in closing, I'd just like to say to you all that Future Healers is about the whole idea of safe and healthy kids. And so is Mayor Greenberg's plan, that we're all here today embracing for a better Louisville. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you so much, Christopher. I had the opportunity to meet these two great kids at the zoo a year or two ago as part of the program that you all, you brought all of them out. It wasn't quite the 800 yet, but I think we were about 70 or 80 at that point in time that were out there. So thank you so much. This is going to be an evolving plan. And this plan is going to help us continue to come together, to continue to break down silos, whether they existed in metro government, whether they existed out in our community. We need to continue to work every day to break down these silos, work together in a coordinated fashion to help our police, to help our prosecutors, to help our community organizations like the amazing ones that we're here with today, to help our judges make good decisions so that we can all collaboratively work to make Louisville a safer city. I'm really confident that this plan is going to work to continue to improve lives, to save lives, and do so much more. And we're excited for the community to all be a part of it, to work together to make our city a safer Louisville. Thank you all very much, and we're happy to take any questions from members of the media.
I know you're renaming the Office for Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods. Can we expect any restructuring as it comes to staff or anything like that?
So right now there is a new interim director. Jason Tatum is the interim director of the Office of Violence Prevention, and we are doing a search for a new director of the Office of Violence Prevention. Additionally, that office will now report to Misty Wright, as will Group Violence Intervention. And so we'll be making announcements about that as we move forward.
This release says that a goal of this plan is to improve the public's perception of crime in the city. Now, whether you reduce it 15% or 99%, there's going to be that one person that's a victim of a crime. And there's going to be that one person who hears about gunfire at Waterfront Park. What exactly in this plan addresses public perception?
Sure. The question, I'll repeat the questions also just so everyone can hear them. The question was about what are we doing to reduce the perception of crime? I think that's a critical and important part is you've heard the stats, you've heard the data. We have positive momentum when it comes to improving safety, public safety in our community, and we've made tremendous progress under Chief Humphrey's leadership and over the past several months. That needs to continue. Lots of folks don't know about it. The way we can do that is working with community organizations to make sure that their members know, to get out and about, to talk about this plan, to educate people about what's going on in the community, to meet with chambers of commerce, community organizations all across the entire city, from east to west, south to downtown, the Highlands, every neighborhood in between. We are going to be part of what Misty is doing, is working to get out in the community so that they know what's really happening. I mean, you all know, all of you are in the media. And the media, this is not a criticism, it's just an observation. The things that make the media are violent crimes, sports, and we've certainly seen in the last 2 weeks, this community loves to understand about its weather. I mean, those are the things that are easiest to be covered in the media on a regular basis. And so we want to continue to provide additional information that might not have time within traditional media's time or print restrictions, limitations, to make sure that everyone knows what's going on. And that takes hard work these days. So we're going to do as much outreach as we can, and that's part of Misty's responsibility to get the word out. And if it's going in the wrong direction, we're going to be transparent about that too, so we can get even more help to get it continue going in the right direction. Thanks, hold on. I didn't see who that was, I'm sorry. Oh, okay, the light was in my, sorry.
New in this plan that we haven't seen in years past? How will folks in the city be safer tomorrow than they were yesterday?
So the question about what is new in this plan, one of the biggest things that is new is just the level of coordination. You take what Misty was talking about earlier with respect to streetlights and infrastructure. Historically, those were Department of Public Works issues. Now there's groups that are coordinating. Around the LMPD plan, there are 5 areas that they have identified that have some of the biggest concerns for violent crime. Some of the most violent crime activity has taken place. There are regular meetings with folks from LMPD, Public Works, the Parks Department, that Misty and an individual, a senior officer from LMPD are convening to make sure that we're all working together in toward coordination to not just add more officers to that area, but to do all these other areas of improvement. So that's one of the biggest is the collaboration and the breaking down of the silos. A lot of what we've been doing, you heard about already, is the reason why we're making so much progress. We have to move faster and do more. some of the initiatives with respect to ensuring that judges have information that we think that they need so that they can make good decisions when it comes to handing down, dealing with justice issues. That is also a new component of this plan as well. Some of the partnerships with state and federal governments that we're talking about right now will additionally be new that we have not yet implemented.
The plan is effective until 2030. Is the plan to, evaluate if it is working, what needs changing in 2030, or will it adapt throughout the years?
So the question was about the plan we've talked about as a 5-year plan and whether it will adapt. Yes, I mean, I do think that there will certainly, as we learn more, as there are new suggestions for what can effectively be used to reduce violent crime, we will certainly adapt. Part of the Community Safety Commission is to listen, is so that we can hear what people in the community think might be other things that will work, to give feedback on some of these initiatives. If they're not working, let's pivot. Let's change the way that we're doing things. And so we believe that this plan will be an evolving plan here. If you want to chime in, Misty, chime into any of these also. Eleanor.
I believe you mentioned something, or Misty maybe mentioned something about police being paid better over time. Is that something that you're looking at, proposing another raise for police officers, and will that be part of your budget?
The question was about police officer pay. Right now, we are in the middle of a police contract with the police union that had historic raises for members of LMPD, particularly people who joined LMPD in their early years. And so that's what that reference was to. That contract is not up at this point in time, but I believe that continuing to pay our police officers well, continuing to provide raises for our firefighters, our EMS, paramedics, for our call takers, all first responders, there is no better investment that we can make. That is just part of it, but it also goes beyond pay. It's about providing them with support, things like the Summit Wellness Center that has shown great results in its first year, and some other initiatives that we're doing to support all of our first responders that will be rolling out in the near future.
You mentioned an interim director as well. Are you saying that the previous director of Ocean, Paul Callahan, is no longer with the Metro government?
That is correct. Paul Callahan's last day was last Friday. Roberto, hold on one second, and we'll get back. Roberto?
Opening the Juvenile Detention Center, or YDC, the state put some initial funding towards that, I think, over a year ago at this point. And I think there was some hope that that would move quickly, but then, we also heard from David James that we're looking at a years-long process. What's the status of reopening YDC at this point?
So the question was about the status of opening the Youth Detention Center. We are working as hard and as closely with the state government as possible to get that reopened. That property is now the responsibility of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, just as they manage all of the other youth detention programs and locations around the entire state. And so the renovation and reopening of that will be under the Commonwealth of Kentucky's jurisdiction. And so we're working with that team to do everything we can to support them, to encourage them. And we understand if there's even more funding needing, that there is strong support in the Kentucky General Assembly to do whatever it takes as quickly as possible to get that youth detention center reopened. We want it, the community wants it, and we're going to work as hard as we can to get that reopened. I don't have a specific date for you right now. Again, that project is being managed by the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Yes, sir.
We all know change is inevitable, but was there anything you felt like Ocean wasn't doing, maybe to the effectiveness that you would have liked? Like, what was the catalyst for this revamp?
The question was about, was there anything that Ocean was not doing, and what was the catalyst for the revamp? Over the past several years, prior to me becoming mayor, there were significant amounts of money, particularly American Rescue Plan funding from the federal government, that were invested into the Office of Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods. That went out into the community in a lot of different forms for a lot of different programs. And our observation is that some of them have been incredibly effective and are getting stronger and better by the day, and others might not have been quite as effective. And so we really want to focus on the programs that are incredibly effective, particularly with federal funding, that one-time federal funding now gone, and it relying on city funds. We want to invest in the most effective programs. We also want to make sure that the Office of Violence Prevention works more closely with all of the other parts of Metro government and community that it has. It should not be an island unto itself that just operates programs. It should be working closely with LMPD. It should be working closely with EMS. And that we believe with this new structure and new leadership, all of that will happen. Any questions? All right. Thank you all very much. Have a great day.